Today's podcast is brought to you by StrongHeartAcademy.com, where no heart is no victory. We are also brought to you by BJJ To Go. If you want to build your game and learn jiu-jitsu, go to bjjtogo.com. Third thing we're brought to you by is Rat Bat. You got rats? Want to kill bats? Kill them with a rat bat. Fourth thing we're brought to you by is hot dog flavored water ingredients. If you want to add it to your smoothie, hot dog flavor ingredient. Hi, I'm Professor Mike Martin. I'm the owner and operator of Strong Heart Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Academy. Today I want to talk about where I'm at with an injury I received on August 7th. Today is September 12th when I'm recording this. And basically, I tore my labrum in my shoulder and my major spinatus. And it is a full thickness tear. I had a bursa sac problem and then I guess some arthritis in there too. That's what the MRI says. So basically what happened, I was at a friend's house, not even doing jiu-jitsu. I was at a friend's house. We were in the pool and he said, hey, I bet you're athletic. I bet you can use my half pipe. Now, I've never skateboarded on flat ground, let alone a half pipe. And for whatever reason, I thought that this was going to be a good idea. And I was like, yeah, I could do this. I was standing up straight. I didn't even bend my knees. And I went to drop in. And when I dropped in, the skateboard came up. And I just went inverted and then fell all my weight on my shoulder. It was a really hard thud. I felt extreme pain right away. I went inside, hung out for like 45 minutes before I went home. I had a one wheel, which is like a electric skateboard with one wheel, basically. And so I thought my balance would be good. I drove that home because he was my neighbor, and a couple blocks, no problem. I just iced it, and then I woke up around midnight and just a lot of pain, man, so much pain. And I knew something was probably wrong, and I was pretty worried about it. Jiu-jitsu is my job. I have to teach, and I have a student of mine who owns a hospital, and one of my friends, I would say, and he told me, hey, Mike, if you ever need an MRI, you can come to my hospital. I'll hook you up. So I called him that morning. And then by that afternoon, on Monday, that was a Sunday, on Monday, I was in his hospital and I got an MRI, and then I got results back, I think the same day. And that's when I had it up. And I'll try to post that. I'll put that online and you guys can see it or whatever. The report on the shoulder. They gave me the video of it, and then contrast and stuff, and then the report, what they recommend. And so what they recommended was surgery. And so I've had shoulder surgery back in 2010. I tore my shoulder in 2009, right when I started my academy. So Strong Heart started in 2009. I tore my shoulder same year. Training, just a dumb move, not even like a Kimura. I was on all fours, somebody was on top of me, big heavy guy, about 300 pounds, and he tried to roll me like a gator roll, and I decided I wasn't going to roll. I just posed with my shoulders, and that kind of weight, something has to give, and I was a lot skinnier then, and my shoulder just went and tore inside there, made all kinds of nasty noises. I waited a full year before I did anything about that one. And I trained on that. I competed on a shoulder just tore in half. And finally got that surgery, got the screws put in. It took me a long time to feel like I was back. And to this day, it is not the same, as before. And I don't think most injuries are ever fully the same, no matter what surgery you get done. But I've been pretty good. I've competed since that surgery. I train all the time. And so I was just worried. I remember the pain and the time it took to get back. And for me, jiu-jitsu so much helps me with stress and mental, anxiety and depression. It helps me sleep. So many of those aspects are for me for jiu-jitsu. Everyone's different. Their reasons why they decided to join jiu-jitsu and try to learn Brazilian jiu-jitsu. But my biggest to this day is still the mental aspect and the mental benefits of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So I was really worried having to take time off and not being able to work out at that kind of level. There's something about hard exercise while thinking, I think, produces just some chemicals in your head that really help, problem solving at a level with the exercise and endurance of the training itself versus just working out. When you're in the gym and you're just working out, there's not like you're not solving any kind of problem. You're just doing reps, just like 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, it's set one or whatever it is. And so I don't know how to recreate fully the exercise that happens in jiu-jitsu to produce what I need for for my mental clarity. And so I've always been worried, if I get a certain age, maybe my 70s, where it's hard to do this, how would I produce it? So I was pretty worried about this. And, I told my friend what happened, his house, because he thought I was fine when I left. And I told, pretty much most people in the school. He gave me a sling. And so I had a sling for about 2 weeks, maybe. And, I have a PT guy that I train with, and it's Roots Sports Med, and shout out to those guys. So 2 things have helped me since, and one of them was prayer. And I had some people put their hands on me, and they said, "Hey, do you want me to put hands on you in prayer?" And I don't know, man. I said yes, and it's free. It cannot hurt. And it's not something as a Christian that I've participated in. And I didn't know, honestly, if I felt deserving of such a thing. And so, but I was such a desperate that I said yes. And that during that same time, I was also doing PT with Sean at SportsMed. And he's like, "No problem, we can do this." They did a bunch of tests on my arm, mobility-wise, to see where it's at, and we've been working ever since for about since literally 2 days after it happened. So I'll go over all those things with you guys, and yeah, I'll explain. Okay, so battery went dead. I had to finish the battery, charge rate, and we're starting again. So what I wanted to say is, after they laid hands on me, I don't remember if that was on the Wednesday or the following week Wednesday, but every Wednesday I go into PT, and we've done some. First, starts out with tests. Did some cupping and some scraping and manipulation, some kind of some small tissue, light tissue work, and then tape and KT tape. And then after that, we started doing, and I think we did TENS unit too, first day, just to get it to like calm down. That's the best way to say it. I iced it a ton, and every night I go to sleep, tons of ibuprofen too. First 3 days I did a ton of ibuprofen. Then I started cutting it back, and within 1 week I already started feeling better by the end of the week. And then so by the following week I was feeling pretty good, but I was trying to be very cautious, very slow. We still weren't doing much of workouts. He would do manipulation, so like pushing my arm up, push into the arm, pushing into the arm, things like that, and just to get it releasing knots and to strengthen kind of around it and to get the motion better. And so we would do handcuff drills when you're going in front of your head, all the way back, handcuff drills, things like that, to get a little bit of motion, a little bit of strength, but very little strength with no weight yet. And then by the 3rd week, I started adding a little bit of movement with band work, and all the rotator cuff movements, and started feeling better and better and better. And the third week I did a no-gi class. I rolled with one of my black belts. It was my first roll back, and I did pretty good. He's a lighter guy. He's probably, 150, maybe less. So I was just really nervous still about any pressure putting on my arm, the weight or strength on it. Not as much the skill level, more like weight. And so I did fine with him. And then I think the following week I did another roll. Maybe that same week I did 1 or 2 rolls. Only 1 or 2 rounds, only, no more than that. And then yesterday I was just feeling really good. And I was a little bit stressed out too, but I was feeling physically really good. And so, one of the things I like to do when I'm really stressed out, like extremely stressed out, is I just like to do a lot of rounds of rolling, just a ton of rounds. So I'm so exhausted, and that your brain just gets a ton of time of not thinking about whatever the thing is that's stressing you out. So one of the benefits of jiu-jitsu is, like, when you're training, when you're rolling, you're live sparring, it's a window of it's impossible for your brain to think about whatever the thing is. Marital problems, kids problems, business problems. Those are the big ones for most people. Relationship problems, maybe family, your mother or father problems, or something like that. Maybe like your pet is sick or something like that. Things that really stress you out, and you're kind of constantly thinking about them instead of like problem solving thinking. You're just thinking of the stress of the mental anguish it's causing you. So when we're training and we're rolling, there's no time to think about those things. You have to think about the person in front of you, what they're trying to do to you. And I just feel like it gives you a great relief from that those thoughts are not intrusive thoughts coming in. Even when you're working your job or doing menial things, even just eating food, your lunch, dinner, breakfast, your thoughts could be intrusive, negative thoughts, and it's hard to block them out. But when you're doing jiu-jitsu, it's really, you don't have an option, because there's a person in front of you, and even if they pass your guard, they're on top of you, mounting you, you're still thinking about, how do I get this person off top of me? If on top of them, or in a dominant position on them, I'm still thinking, how can I maintain this? How can I get the finish? How can I get the submission on them? And so your brain is just really hyper-focused on one little thing that is a problem-solving task, but in my opinion is not as stressful. Even though it is, simulated combat or simulated fighting, I don't find it stressful. I just find it problem solving, puzzle solving with physical activity. And so it just gave my mind a break. And so last night we did 10 rounds, 10 5-minute rounds with 40-second rests, which is not a lot of rests. I like to do light rests between rounds at my academy. And so on average, we'll do 3 to 4 rounds on most nights, 3 to 4 rounds, or maybe 2 rounds, but then multiple positional live rounds. But last night we did just strictly rolling. No lesson, just rolling. We're going to do 10 rounds tonight. There were no new students. Everyone was advanced enough, even the white belts, that I thought that they can handle it. That they have enough experience, they know how to roll. It's not going to be, when someone's brand new, they're like, what do I do? I would never do a class like that if someone's brand new in the class or trying a class out for the first day. Hey, we're going to do 10 rounds. That was not the scenario. But I just thought, people are getting ready for a competition. We'll just do a lot of rolling tonight, even though it was my fundamentals program, not my competition or advanced class training. We do typically much more rounds, 5 to 6 rounds in comp class, and then a lot of drilling. But last night just seemed like the right time. I put on the type of music I usually like when we're rolling, a little bit more aggressively, and I felt fine. I felt great. And today, I'm not sore at all. I'm actually not even that tired. I'm a little bit tired because I had to wake up early to teach the morning class. But other than that, I'm not physically tired. I felt great out there. And so, today's pod is just as much of a grateful podcast as, glory to God and thanks to Sean at Roots, that's been taking care of me for about 2 years now. I've been training with him. And totally worth the cost of training with him. It's kept me at my age very healthy, and I don't take TRT. I don't take any drugs, other than just protein and water and ibuprofen, occasionally, and ice if I have to. But just sauna with him, ice baths at his place, and then the workouts he gives me that are specific for whatever things that we need to work on. And I still need to clean up my diet a little bit better, but not rolling for a couple weeks. I put around about 5 pounds of fat, basically. So I'll work that off now that I'm going to start training more. But I'm just really happy that I didn't need to get surgery, and maybe in the future I still might, but right now, like, it's not coming out of place. Sleeping is still a little bit like I don't want to lay on it for hours. So I'm still adjusting for sleep with it, but overall the rolling I was able to roll. I turned down rolling with one of my black belts who's a little bit more aggressive. And he usually gives me tough rolls, and I just didn't want to get injured with him. I did turn down a roll with him, but I've rolled with some black belts, and I've rolled brown belts and purple belts and blue belts and white belts. And last night was a good mix of all three of those. And I felt good, so I'm just very happy that I was able to rehab my shoulder versus re-surgery again. Because, again, I've done it before, and it was pretty miserable. And the atrophy of my bicep was pretty crazy the last time I did my surgery. I had to hold it for, I think, 8 weeks. I had a little thing, like a pad between me and my body, and just held it like this for 8 weeks, sleeping like that, everything. And that bicep, just like, I remember I couldn't move my arm. It was like shooting pain trying to move my arm, not my shoulder, my bicep, because of just the atrophy of not moving and not using your shoulder or your arm. And it's crazy how quickly your muscles will just go away, and how long it takes to get them where you feel strong or fit. The atrophy is so fast, and I've worked so hard for the last 2 years to, like, be a lot stronger than I was. I've always been pretty thin and skinny in jiu-jitsu and tough, but I wouldn't say overly strong. Now I've become stronger. My legs are stronger. My arms are stronger. And, I've had a knee injury since I was 26. I got heel hooked when it was like kind of a no-no back then. I think I was a purple belt at the time, and there was a blue belt that really wanted to tap me. So he decided he's going to heel hook me in gi, and it was not a decide thing. And I just refused to tap to him because I was like, I'm not tapping to that man. And it tore. I have an MRI on my knee. It tore. Luckily, the surgeons then were like, hey, let's just rehab it. It's not that bad of a tear. It's the outside. I don't remember what the outside of your knee is. But and it's just lifting, doing squats, doing split squats, doing deadlifts. Those things have really, really, really strengthened my legs, and I feel no pain in my knees. My knee pain's gone completely. And so, just again, shout out to Roots, shout out to the guys, KD and my mind went blank. Who else prayed for me? John, and then Dr. Peter Stockton for hooking me up with MRI so quickly and so helpful to kind of talk through and understand and explain it all. And then the Roots, they just, I'm a dummy, so they gave me a model of the shoulder and what everything is, and this is what's damaged. And it kind of explaining it to me was very helpful for me. That gave me the confidence that I thought that, oh yeah, maybe let's try to PT through this thing. So if you ever need PT for anything, injury prevention, or trying to get over an injury, these guys are great. They're right off of Bell Road and 15th Street. And so you guys could check them out, or Roots Sports Med, and schedule a point with them. There's two guys, Sean and Jason, and they're great. They got master's degrees in this, so they know their stuff. And then, I highly recommend people, doing outside things of jiu-jitsu just to keep your body running properly. I think jiu-jitsu is a great workout. so many benefits. But if you're really going to train a lot, I definitely recommend maybe 2 days a week, 1 day a week of some sort of recovery. Do something for your body to recover. Ice baths, saunas. Always making sure you're sleeping well. Tons of water, tons of protein, and tons of ice. Those are kind of my methods of recovery without using steroids or TRT. And I don't want to put down anyone that does that. If you're older and you think that it's going to help you, like maybe you feel like you have low testosterone. I don't feel like I have low testosterone. I never checked it, but I'm just not ready to cross that path yet or that road yet. And again, I'm not trying to put people down that do, but it's not for me yet. And I'm going to continue to train with these guys and help keep me healthy and on the mat as long as I can, and trying to feel at a decent high level for my age. And for where I am in Arizona, I feel like I'm a pretty good jiu-jitsu player. So that's all I want to talk to you about today, and just kind of my recovery. I'll try to put up a picture of my MRI so you guys can see it, so you know that I'm not full of it. And maybe even I'll put some video of me rolling last night. One of the students was taking video, and although it was an Android, we'll see how well that video showed up. But I think my gut was hanging out, but I'll share it anyway. And then I'll work to remove that still. But anyway, peace. Hope you enjoyed it.
talk for just a second, help me feel that sense of rhythm. Find the meanings in our bearings and discover this position as a stage along the way. Another rung to the ladder, either stalling or you're climbing, and I'd rather be the latter. Instead of getting fatter, let the footsteps resume naturally.